been working in the Gambia since 1986 in the area of health service delivery. The benevolent organization founded by a British couple has grown internationally over the years with a strong base in Banjul. This ceremony, marking the official laying of the foundation stone for the construction of a training and resource center jointly funded by Riders for Health the Gambia and the British High Commission in Banjul, is considered by officials another worthwhile and useful initiative. The facility is expected to serve as a national center of excellence in terms of capacity building for drivers, trainee technicians, and riders from across the country. It is also anticipated to act as a documentation center in partnership with local communities to champion road safety for the good of all.
Having a training center allows us to train Gambians to do their work better. We are going to train not only riders and drivers on good ways of riding and driving to save transports. We're also going to train technicians. And this may be a seed that we are sowing here today for an academy tomorrow.
Partnership between Riders for Health and the Health Ministry, which dates back to 2002, is something officials did not lose sight of, as they applaud the support derived from the Gambia government through the Ministry of Health.
We hopefully will together make sure that the health of Gambians improve, because when it comes to transporting materials and equipment and doctors and nurses, we will ensure that that is done. The ministry can go to bed and sleep and know that the problem will not be transport.
The British High Commission, one of the co-financiers of the project, described the move as a worthwhile and useful initiative in improving medical care across the country. Deputy High Commissioner Sharif described Riders for Health's program in Banjul as one of the best in Africa.
But I'd just like to say again that I'm very, very honoured to be here and being able to bring the British High Commission in partnership with Riders for Health to support the very, very good work.
Their contribution to the country's health sector has been very visible as they continue to make great impact in the sector, putting the Gambia on global records, especially for attaining countrywide health service delivery.
And I think over the years that Riders for Health has taken the responsibility of managing the government vehicle, the Ministry of Health vehicles. Really, we have seen a lot of improvement in terms of the management of our vehicles. And beyond that, the lives that it's saving. We have one of the best referral systems in the region. And I'm proud when I meet my colleagues, they tell us, oh, I know Gambia has a good referral system. It's because you're only 1.5 million? I said, no, it's because we have a good management company, institution, Riders for Health. So really, I think Riders for Health has put also the Gambia on the globe. And the referral system is very critical, it's very important.
The ceremony culminated in the laying of the foundation stone and a conducted tour of Riders' facilities. Samuel Ba, Grts.
The Supreme Court of the Gambia has dismissed the appeal filed by former Chief of Defense Staff Lang Tombong Tamba and 6 others in the decisive moment that lasted for 15 minutes. Ibrahim Ajata reports that the decision effectively ends all hopes the appellants might have in reversing their death sentence.
Decisive verdict at the court of last resort, finally ending a stretched legal voyage for the 7 appellants, which began almost 4 years ago at the High Court. It brought scores of onlookers, friends and relatives at the Supreme Court of the Gambia, where every available space and seat got filled well before the panel of 5 pinnacle court judges led by the Chief Justice of the Gambia, Emmanuel Ajim, made their appearance. Justice Raymond Sok delivered the much-anticipated verdict of the Supreme Court. Ex-Chief of Defense Staff Lang Tombong Tamba, Bo Baji, Modu Gay, Ngor Seka, Omar Bun Bay, Kausu Kamara and Lai Juve were jointly charged with treason and conspiracy to commit treason at the High Court, where a death sentence was consequently handed to the men on the 15th of July 2010 after their conviction. Dissatisfied with this decision, the appellants moved on to the Gambia Court of Appeal in a bid to revise their sentence, but the court dismissed the appeal, maintaining the High Court's verdict. Moving on to the next and last available legal remedy to overturn the death sentence, the 7 appellants filed yet another appeal at the Supreme Court of the Gambia. The brief and decisive verdict was delivered in what was both a somber an electrifying 15 minutes by Justice Sok, who gave the court a synopsis of the processes exhausted through the course of the trial from the High Court to the Supreme Tribunal. Despite the ample circumstances of the matter, two issues essentially came up for determination at the Apex Court. The first is whether a miscarriage of justice was effected by the previous courts in convicting on what the counsel for the appellants argued as the uncorroborated evidence of a single prosecution witness, Ibrahim Amare, who is an accomplice, and whether the second prosecution witness, Rui Jabi Gassama, ought to be held as an accomplice whose evidence needs to be corroborated. The gist of the council's argument is that the conviction of the appellants was contrary to the provisions of Section 38 of the Criminal Code. Justice Sok extensively deliberated on these matters besides the respondents' contentions and ultimately resolved that there was no miscarriage of justice by the Gambia Court of Appeal, which he said has no power to reverse the High Court's decision based on corroborated evidence. Section 181, according to the Supreme Court verdict, addresses the mischief of total reliance on the non-corroboration of the evidence of an accomplice as a defense. Justice Sok consequently dismissed the appellant's appeal, interring the last hope by the death row convicts of having a reversed decision. The decision was subsequently endorsed by all judges of the Supreme Court, including Chief Justice Ajim, who told the Apex Tribunal that the death sentence in this circumstance doesn't violate the provisions of Section 18, subsection 2 of the 1997 Constitution. That's the verdict at the court of last resort, ultimately exhausting all local legal mechanisms for the former Chief of Defense Staff and 6 others. Ibrahim Jata, GRTS.
Bakau native and ward councillor Usman Jata has donated an assortment of learning materials and medical items to Bakau Lower Basic and Health Center respectively. Fatu Jassi has more on that self-help intervention by the man Fonlikor Rambo.
A set of school and hospital equipment, including laptop projectors, were donated to the people of Bakau at a ceremony which gathered many people, including students of Bakau Lower Basic School and officials from both the Ministries of Health and Education. These items were donated by Bakau native Usman Jata, whose intervention is anchored on bettering the lots of his community. The donor describes the move as vital in helping the community access some quality educational and health materials. The materials, he went on, came through his friends from Sweden.
These materials are tapped from a friend or a family by the name of Hansen in Denmark, who were here on a holiday. We've been known to each other for the past 14 years. And they've been helping a lot in this country through my initiatives. But this time I have the believing that it's time for Bakau to benefit. So this is why these items were brought to Bakau this time.
Community elders were full of praise for the donor, describing the gesture as worthwhile venture.
I'm more than thrilled about this gesture, particularly in view of the fact that it is always preferable to be donated such things you need. And definitely the furniture we see here and the computers are very much in their need at the school. So they are very relevant and pertinent at this point in time. And I'm very happy that the donation has been organized, or the whole concept emanated from a citizen of Bakau.
The beneficiaries, for their part, spoke of their delight at receiving these important items, for they would be very useful to them. These materials, particularly school materials, is expected to help school-going children in Bakau. The beneficiaries also assure their donor of the proper upkeep of these items and also make good use of them. For GRTS News, I am Fatu Jassi.
Well, we'll now take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Officials of the Sub-Regional Economic Bloc, ECOWAS, and the African Union have met on Friday to devise plans to free northern Mali from armed Islamist groups. Some 3,000 international troops are set to be deployed to Mali, but remains unclear which countries will provide the personnel and what their mandate will be.